Welcome back to El Pozo, and those of you who are regular listeners stroke watchers will already notice there's something slightly different about tonight's show. I am your host for this evening, Liam Bambridge. Nick is unavailable this week, and so we have managed to draft somebody in to take his place, and delighted that you don't just listen to me babbling on about Primera RFEF football on my own. We have a superb replacement this evening, none other than Tom Morgan Charters. Tom, good evening.
Good evening, mate.
Lovely to have you on the show. I know you're a big watcher of lower tier Spanish football, and we obviously, I think, first met on the Spanish weekend, and you also are a big fan of third tier Spanish football. And you can see, those of you who are watching this on YouTube, that Tom also has an impressive collection of Primera Federación shirts and many other Spanish shirts sitting behind him. So if you are listening to this and you fancy having a look, whip over to YouTube and you'll see what an impressive array he has behind him, including a couple of this season shirts, which will tell the story in itself, Thomas. Like myself, been to a number of grounds so far this season. Tom, any particular favourites that you've visited so far?
What of the shirts? Probably my favourite shirt. I do like a Kappa shirt, like Nick, with Sabadell, and the Guadalajara shirt that I'm wearing, and also the away Guadalajara gold shirt's very nice as well. But
very tasty.
Can't complain about the Europa home shirt as well.
Proper nice for choice, really. There's not a bad one amongst them. Yeah, I was thinking more about the overall experience of going to the games, but yeah, let's bring it down to shirts. Nick would be proud of you. Straight into the shirt chat. So yeah, we're going to talk in a similar sort of vein to how we usually do this. So I think we're going to spend more time focusing on the games of the week and perhaps a little bit less time on every other game that takes place or has taken place this weekend. But of course, as always, we will start with the news. And the big news, I suppose, this weekend, and rather disappointing news for myself, was that several games were called off in Primera Federación this weekend because of stormy weather conditions in Western Andalusia. We lost Arenteiro against Algeciras. We lost Juventud de Torremolinos against Teruel, which I was particularly gutted about because I was going to be at that game. We also lost Real Murcia Marbella and Cartagena Sevilla Atletico. They're all postponed for later. I think a couple are happening, aren't they, quite soon, and a couple a bit further away. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, so they announced it today that two of the games rescheduled for the 25th of February and two of them for the 11th of March.
So we have a situation, I suppose, there where we've got. I mean, it's a bit weird, isn't it? The weather wasn't all that bad, I don't think, in Murcia, the Murcia region. But of course, we had two sides in Marbella and Sevilla Atletico who were travelling from the really, badly affected area in Western Andalusia, and they would have been travelling on the Saturday. The games were going to be played on the Sunday, so the decision was made that they wouldn't be made to do that journey. And of course, Teruel coming down from a long way away to get to Torremolinos. Maybe they just thought there was an issue there in terms of they could get there, and at the end of a long journey, the game could be off. I think probably both of those games, both of them, Torremolinos and Arenteiro, there was so much rain falling. I think they're both grass pitches, aren't they, Tom? That might be an issue. I don't know what you think. Whether it was perhaps the right call. I mean, I was gutted, but do you think it was the right thing under the circumstances?
Well, as we saw some of the states of the pitches that we've seen this weekend, don't see why not they could have played, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty horrendous ones, I have to say. A bit lower down the pyramid, there were one or two games I was like, there's one that was snowy, wasn't it? It was one of the kind of pitch I played in back in the day, more mud than grass. So yeah, maybe so. But maybe the groundsman, Arenteiro and Torremolinos were like, no chance are you going to be allowed to play on this pitch. We've worked so hard on it, we're not going to have it destroyed in one weekend. And fair play to them. I think overall probably the right call, even as I say, very disappointing for me. A team also from that neck of the woods, Atletico Sanluqueño. It's not happened yet. It's going to happen next week, but they've called a meeting, which only, I think, season ticket holders from this season are allowed to attend. I presume, Tom, this is to explain why they've become Cádiz Bay, basically. I presume there's going to be some breakdown of financials of the club and why they felt it necessary to take such drastic action. But they have done something which has reflected rather better on them in terms of PR this week, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've actually donated 300 team kits to those who have been affected by the storm. Good PR management for the club.
Yeah, it's a rare ray of hope in a miserable few weeks for them from a public relations perspective, isn't it, really? Yeah. What they've done is never going to go down well with their fans. And let's hope some of them are kind of a little bit placid after that meeting next Monday. We'll bring you, of course, all the news on what happened as and when we find out ourselves. It's a closed meeting, of course, but I'm sure word will creep out over the course of the following 24 hours. Of course, we know the transfer window is shut. We covered it last week, and so no signings for clubs that are players that are other clubs or whatever else. But free agents are still available. We've seen that in Segunda this week as well. And one really big pickup from Lugo here, isn't there, Tom? I don't know what you make about this. Borja Sanchez, who we've seen a reasonable amount of with Real Oviedo, haven't we? I think that is a tremendous signing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's played about 150 games for Real Oviedo. He spent last season on loan at Burgos, played about 30 games there, bagged a few goals. And then I think I've seen somewhere that he's played in La Liga this season against Villarreal. So, what a signing for Lugo to get to complement Alex Balboa.
Yeah, we like Alex Balboa, don't we? And we'll talk about him a bit later, maybe briefly at least. But yeah, tremendous signing, and just a sign that Baroni, the new man in charge in terms of the boardroom anyway, is really putting some money into this Lugo effort to get back into Segunda, isn't he? So let's go on to the games of the week. We will start in Grupo Uno. We didn't have a huge amount of goals in our games of the week this week, did we, Tom? Plenty of talking points. We'll start with one of the goalless draws. Pontevedra 0, Real Madrid Castilla 0 in the Estadio Municipal de Pasarón. First up, Tom, your thoughts on the pitch. How did this one strike you? I mean, we've seen some really bad ones. How does this rate?
I don't think it's actually the worst, even though it was one of the first games we watched. I was thinking, oh, bloody hell, what state of the pitch this is. But I think I've seen worse from other games. Looked actually quite dry and bare in some places, considering the amount of rain that has been in Spain recently. It was okay, considering the state of the other ones that we've seen.
Yeah. I mean, Galicia's obviously really been hammered, hasn't it? The northwest of the country, in fact, the whole of the country's been hammered. It's been raining some parts of Spain for about 40 days straight, So, yeah, these pitches at this level, they're not going to be able to cope, are they, with that level of rain and the amount of use they're getting as well. Yeah, it's very heavily sanded. I think when you sort of got to look at the background of the players in the foreground pitch in the background, it looked pretty bumpy to me. I thought, bearing that in mind, I thought both teams dealt with it pretty well. But yeah, it's not a great surface, and it hasn't been for a few weeks. It's not going to get any better, is it? So they just have to get on with it, don't they, really, Pontevedra, and maybe just wait to reseed it and relay it in the summertime, I'm guessing. First half, any particular standout players for you? Anyone you liked? Anyone you thought immediately caught your eye? I know you've seen both these teams a number of times, although probably Real Madrid Castilla fewer times. And keeping with the general anti-filial we have on this show.
Yeah, I'm going to sort of change up, and there is going to be a couple of Real Madrid Castilla players involved in this.
We won't blacklist you, don't worry. We'll let you go just once,
But start with the Pontevedra players, especially down that left-hand side. They're so dangerous, and the link-up play between Miguel Cuesta and Alberto Hill, sorry. I believe Cuesta is actually a left winger that's playing left back, and he seems to bomb on forward. Lovely interchange between them both, and causing Real Madrid Castilla a lot of problems. For Castilla, Juan Martinez looked quite solid. Had a bit of a battle with Alex. What was the striker called? Yeah, he had quite a bit of a battle between those two, and fortunately, he won the battle because it forced Compa to come off just before half time.
Big blow that, wasn't it? I think probably given the goals he's got. I think he's got 5 in the last 7 or something like that. He's been really prolific, hasn't he? He's really, amazing to think this guy was in Primera RFEF last season. He was banging him in Primera RFEF, to be fair, but he stepped up a couple of leagues, and for me, he's probably only playing because of that Selma situation, wasn't it? Where he took the penalty twice, missed it twice, and barely never played for Pontevedra again. Was ushered out the doors, gone to Marbella, isn't he? So I think that's Compa benefit from that, and he does look great. But yeah, that was a big blow for them, losing him before half time. I think it was, or around the stroke of half time, wasn't it? So yeah. And second half, I suppose, in terms of standout players, and this is an indication of how well Pontevedra played for me, was probably, I think, is it fair to say that the Real Madrid Castilla keeper was probably the best player on the pitch second half?
Yeah, he definitely saved them from defeat, to be honest. He denied Jelko Pino quite a few times, down to a couple of long range shots, saved well. And yeah, another shot from the left back, actually, from Castilla, Valdepeñas, I believe it is, who has actually appeared in the first team this season. Who was somehow in between the two centre backs, managed to get through and juggled it onto his right foot and forced
Marquesa.
Yeah, Marquesa into a save. So yeah, I think both keepers play well, but Fran Gonzalez stood out in this game.
Yeah, tremendous. It was a save low. That means huge, isn't he? Is he about 6'5"? I mean, I've fairly sure heard in the commentary him saying he's 2 meters, which for me is, I mean, I'm not great on meters, but that sounds to me very big, 6'6" even maybe.
Well,
yeah, and he's
bigger than one of the keepers that we watched in one of the other games. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally nearly a foot taller than Fermin Sabron. I think you're referring to, are you? Thamana, quite incredible. Yeah, Sabron's like 5'9", and I think he's 6'6". And there was one of those where he stretched low to his left foot and made a brilliant save. Another 1-on-1, I think he did really well on as well. So yeah, we don't like to give credit to Filianes, as everybody knows, but there were some decent performances. I did think there was a little bit too much focus on hairstyles, though. An awful lot of brushing their hair and stuff, with their hands and stuff, like, make sure there wasn't a one out of place or anything. Yeah, that's a classic filial behaviour for me. And then, of course, really, it looked like it was going to end in an incredible piece of drama. It still was quite dramatic, but for all the wrong reasons for Pontevedra fans. Talk us through this disallowed goal in the 90th minute.
Well, was it a corner, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's certainly the ball. Yeah, it was a corner.
Yeah,
it was properly cleared.
It was a tussle between Luis Yao and the Castilla defender. Ball went in, and it was ruled out that the clearance from the Castilla defender was impeded by Luis Yao, who was offside. Yeah.
Discuss. I mean, listen, I've seen a lot of camera. I've seen some. I mean, it's great, isn't it? You see a camera angle from behind the goal. I think if the camera angle from behind the goal, and it isn't a camera angle, I don't think. I think it's probably a photograph. I don't think. My point is here is that there is an angle that I've seen online that suggests that Luis Yao is offside. But it's not the angle that I saw the officials looking at for 7 minutes to decide whether he was offside or not. Even if he is offside, and if he is, he's very marginally offside. And again, we go back to the same point again. Should FVS be used to decide incredibly marginal offside decisions when they haven't got lines, when they haven't got 18 cameras like VAR has in La Liga and Segunda? And I'm not sure it should. But even if you decide he's offside, you've then got to decide for me that he's interfering with the defender trying to make the clearance. So for me, the defender breaks away from Luis Yao and just stuffs up the clearance, and Resendiz smashes in the net. And for me, it's a perfectly good goal. And I just can't understand why they disallowed it. It was given on the field. For me, it should have stood. Hugely disappointing moment for Pontevedra after what looked like what would have been a deserved victory for me overall. So disappointing. And I can't help feeling that a lot of clubs other than Real Madrid, Castilla would not have got that decision in their favour. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think it was the other way around. I think it may would have stood.
Yeah, I'm afraid I think the same. I mean, we shouldn't take away from the fact that Pontevedra are now unbeaten in 10. So it's still a tremendous result for them. And as I say, they deserve to win the game. They take a lot of credit from that. And hopefully it will help them to put it behind them, is that they are on a brilliant run, and they didn't outplay Real Madrid Castilla, but they were the better side for me. And on the flip side, Real Madrid Castilla, 5 games without a win. So I suppose the big question is, we've got a long way to go still, but of those two teams, Tom, which do you think is more likely to make the playoffs?
I think if Pontevedra can keep up that performance level, I think they could be up there. But then it's Real Madrid Castilla, supposedly all these bright prospects, and obviously a change of manager because Arbeloa has gone up to the big job. My heart says Pontevedra, but my head is saying Castilla. Yeah,
pretty much me as well. I think Pontevedra had made some good signings in the transfer window. Needed to, of course. They were very thin on the squad. James has said that before when he spoke to him when I was there. in Pontevedra said that they really needed bodies in. They have got a few in. I still think they're a bit thin there, if I'm honest, in terms of players, and we just have to hope they hang on. There's still quite a few games to go. They're in a strong position, aren't they? But yeah, the extra depth, obviously, that Real Madrid Castilla have in their squad makes me feel like they're more likely to make it. But like you, I really, really hope that our heads are wrong and our hearts are right. Let's move on to Mérida against Zamora, our second game in Grupo 1 at the Estadio Romano Jose Foto, or is it Jose Foto because it's quite near Portugal? I'm not sure. Mérida fans, fill us in on that one. We saw here, I don't know if this is the first you've seen of him. I didn't really get much of a look at him last week, or the week before last, I should say. The big Icelandic striker, Sigurður Hallsson, who's come in for some quite decent money, hasn't he, from Icelandic football. What did you make of your first proper look at him?
He certainly reminds me of a former Watford striker in Heider Helgesson. Big, strong, just makes a nuisance of the centre backs. He performed really, really well, and I'm sure it's not going to take him long to start banging in the goals. He was replaced in the 60th minute, but that was probably planned. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, Helgesson, I completely forgot him. But yeah, now you say it, there's a real comparison there, isn't he? He's left-footed predominantly, big and strong, and socks on his ankles. it's an uncanny resemblance. We're not just stereotyping all Icelandic players here. Tom, as a Watford fan, I've seen quite a lot of Helgesson, and I can agree with that. Hallsson in his 60 minutes does now, when I think about it, bears a striking resemblance to the former Watford striker. Yeah, I was really impressive as well. He had a chance early on, didn't he, which was well saved. I think, like you say, I think it's a planned thing, isn't he? He's played 60 minutes the first two games. He's come presumably from their close season, as he hasn't been playing, I presume. They don't play, I shouldn't think, in Iceland in January, do they? So I'm guessing he's not very match fit, and perhaps that's the idea, ease him in slowly, 60 minutes, and then 60 minutes, and then maybe next time 75 minutes, whatever else. But yeah, very encouraging early on.
He also could have a good chance, which he put in, but the left winger of Mérida managed to run the ball out of play, but the lovely movement from him to get in front of his marker and managed to flick it in and beat the keeper at the near post. But yeah, unfortunately, didn't count. Yeah,
you're right. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, really well taken, wasn't it? And yeah, I thought overall, is it fair to say the first half was pretty even? Could you pick a winner out of the two from that first half? I didn't feel either side were particularly dominant.
I'll probably say Mérida just edged it. From what I can think of is one chance that Zamora had, and that was from Abdel on the left-hand side, cutting in, but went miles wide. I
thought it was miles wide. I thought it was a decent effort. You obviously got higher standards than me, Tom. I'd have been oohing at that one if I'd have been in the stands. But yeah, it's probably the nearest they came to score. You're right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Mérida probably, if it was a boxing match, I think points that probably Mérida would have nicked it just about, wouldn't they? But obviously, nothing to show for that. 0 at half time. Second half, I think, was a different story. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, Mérida stepped up another level in the second half and dealt with Zamora's attacks quite comfortably, really. Going to the big chance that Zamora had with Kike Marquez. I don't know how he didn't score from this. 3 against 2. Decides to take it on his own and absolutely spoons it wide.
Yeah, I mean, those who listen to the show regularly will know that we're big fans, Nick and I, of Kike Marquez. He's one of the more experienced players in the division. I think he's 36 at least. He's a classy player. He's not left-footed. Perhaps that's part of what happened here, Tom. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, I thought Mérida controlled the second half. But yeah, this was a chance at 0-0. He's got to square it to Abdi, hasn't he? He can't. If he's going to go on his own there, he's got to hit the target at the very least. He spoons it, as you say, miles wide. And for a player his ability, with Abdi standing right next to him, not screaming at him, sadly, should have been really, probably should have been yelling at him to pass it. I'm not sure he would have passed it anyway. But yeah, that's a really, really poor miss. And I think if they score there, maybe the game, especially because I think Mérida, as you say, were on top, I think the game maybe pans out very differently. And then, Mérida a bit downhearted by that, having kind of dominated their behind. And Zamora, we know, pretty decent defensively. But yeah, they missed the chance. That was it. What did you make of the Mérida goals, though? Were they? I mean, do you see them both as being avoidable? I mean, I think, as I say, the right team won at the end of the day, but the 2 goals for me were not great.
Yeah, so it was the first goal was a cross from the left back, Edward Verges. Is that how you say it? Yeah. He was on the right hand side after taking a throw in. He seems to be taking all their throw-ins either left or right. He's managed to get the ball and he literally curled it into the box. And the marking is just absolutely terrible. Like 4 Merida players against 2 Zamora players, and the rest of the Zamora players are just ball watching, and managed to get the head on it. But and then the second goal. Well, what happened in the second goal again?
Yeah, it's more poor defending. I mean, I think I agree. I think they're both poorly defended, but I think ultimately the right team won. I just said the more good defense would be all right. They weren't on this occasion. They did mess it up. I suppose the only conversation for Zamora would be that they won the first game 3-0, didn't they? So I think losing this game 2-0, they now drop below Merida in the table, and Merida go into the top 5, and Zamora drop out of it. But it's so tight at the top of that league behind Tenerife, isn't it? That maybe that goal average, maybe with the goal average 3-2 overall, could turn out to be really decisive. What's your view on these two? I mean, we've already said Real Madrid Castilla may be more likely to make the top 5 than Pontevedra. Can you see both of these teams making it to the playoff regardless of the record against each other?
I think Merida have looked from this game, look like they can keep it up and get into those playoff places. They're attacking midfield free trio. Love to interchange, moving about with place. I think Zamora struggled to really keep track of them. And the replacement of House and Sofian with his second goal, because he somehow nutmegged the keeper when he was on his knees.
They said it's
a mess up from the
defender first of all, wasn't it? Gave it away, and then Sofian, he may claim he meant that. I'm not sure he did. Strikers do aim to go between keepers' legs sometimes, do they? But that was such precision he showed there that I kind of somehow doubt it. But yeah, I mean, you can bring him off the bench, can't you? As you say, the 3 behind is it Chiki, Benate, the 2 of them, aren't they? I can't remember who the third one is now playing behind whoever the strikers. Don't forget Don Sell, who's just signed a new contract at Merida. He's injured at the moment. He's not even playing, and I'd say he'd be in that 3 behind. So yeah, they've got some great options, haven't they? As you say, it looks like a strong squad. And Zamora, I don't know. Yeah, I think I agree. I think Merida are a more likely side to make the players of those 2, not just based on that 90 minutes, which is looking at the squad depth. I'm not sure about this signing up front either for Zamora. I mean, I like Carbonell. Didn't play in this one. They've moved him out, haven't they, to bring the new man in. He's not new. He's actually been there before. But yeah, I'm not sure about that signing at all. I just feel like you've got Carbonell and Farm. They've had to bring in somebody, obviously, because they've lost Eslava. But ultimately, I'm not sure that the sign they've made is exactly what I'd want.
Yeah, he didn't really have much an impact at all. I didn't even notice he was playing, to be honest, for 85 minutes, I think.
I was hoping he might be a bit like Iko Lasada, but he wasn't. Iko Lasada, who I loved in his time at Racing Club de Ferrol. But yeah, Mario Lasada for me didn't really do it for me at all, I'm afraid. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, a couple of other things you noticed that weren't happening on the pitch that didn't make you very happy, Tom?
Yeah, Fran Beltran's hair. Yeah.
Mullet.
Yeah. Get rid of that. Not cool.
No place for it. No. And what else did you not appreciate? Or what else did you feel? Who else did you feel a bit sorry for apart from the result?
Yeah, there's Zamora fans really, because I believe there's only one side of the ground that is sheltered, maybe at Merida. Looked like there's plenty of room to house the Zamora fans because they were out in the open getting absolutely soaked, hiding underneath the stairs. That could have been avoidable.
Yeah, not great. And it would have been nice if they'd shared the big stand, wouldn't it? But I suppose segregation, etc., not going to happen. Anyway, so yeah, ended 2-0 Merida, a great result for them. And then they're pushing on and upwards. And certainly, I think they've got a great chance to stay of making top 5. Third game, Grupo 1. Another 0-0. Ponferradina 0, Felta Fortuna 0. One of these games, I don't know what you thought. What did you make of the first 20? The first 20 minutes, I was sitting there thinking, this is going to be a cracker, I have to say. Was that your take on it as well?
Yes, Pomfe really started on the front foot in the first 20 minutes. And then after that, Celta Fortuna's ever-changing formation sort of nullified Pompey and sort of turned it into a very dull affair, I think. I really couldn't wait for this game to finish, to be honest with you.
What do you mean, Tom? There's no such thing as a dull game in Primera Federación. Out damn spot. Yeah, absolutely. It was. I couldn't agree more with this one, to be honest. I think, to be fair, Pompey were affected, weren't they, by the couple of injuries. They lost a couple of key players, didn't they, midfield? I know Eddie Moranzo's got there, but he is a decent player. I think been at Pompey before, was at Zaragoza a long time ago. I remember him. And they also lost, was it Arenteiro midfield as well, didn't it, to injury? Yeah. So I think that did make a difference. But I just felt towards the end they did just kind of sit back and play, play on the counter side, didn't they? And yeah, it didn't make for a great spectacle. I have to say, I was chucking it down with rain in this one as well, wasn't it? I think most of the fans were on cover at least, but it was not a great watch. And then, although there's no refereeing controversy involved in this,
hold on there, because I think there was in the first half. I think Pompey were very lucky to go in with 11 men at half time from the challenge from Novoa, the centre half.
You didn't like that, did you?
Yeah, studs up on Alvaro Marin. Looked like there was contact made.
Contact spot, Tom. Stop it.
Yeah, studs up.
Game's gone if we give that a red.
But the referee went to FVS and decided it was only a yellow, which I sort of disagree with.
But yeah, all I like about that, to be fair, is that, as we've said before, Nick and I really dislike this idea of opposing coaches trying to get other players sent off, other teams' players sent off. I just don't like it. I think it's wrong. I think it just feels underhand. I know, referees can miss stuff, but he did have quite a good view of that, and I feel like he's been put under pressure to go for the red. And so the fact he stuck to the yellow, and also he only gave a yellow to a player playing against the filial, obviously that is also something that endears him to me. But yeah, I get what you're saying. There'll be refs that would give that straight away, and if he gives a red there's no way it's being overturned, is there?
No.
Not a chance. There was a chance though, right at the very end, wasn't there? Calderon, oh my goodness me, a game, as you say, completely uninspiring in terms of goal mouth action, and then in about the 92nd minute, Calderon in on goal. What is he doing there?
I don't know. It's just it wasn't even on the highlights. Like the highlights were 1 minute 33 seconds.
That's a new record. That's a new record.
Didn't even make it into the highlights. He should have tried to use his left foot, I believe, and put it in. But
that was, given that there were no highlights in this game, I find it astonishing that they managed to miss that particular highlight out. And yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I think I full fair play to you for sticking with it for the full 90 minutes. I did, but I just kept hoping it would get better, and I didn't have much else to do, so I did stick with it. But yeah, it was not pretty. It was not a nice 0-0. Sometimes you get a good 0-0. This was not one of them. We'll move on to Grupo 2, shall we? Europa 1, Hércules 1. Your thoughts initially, Tom, as a man who's been to the No Sardinia this season and bought that lovely shirt that's behind you. What did you make of Can Dragó?
It was actually surprisingly all right, really. Temporary, so there's a running track around the pitch, and they've managed to put temporary stands just behind both of the goals, right close to the pitch. And yeah, it looked like the Europa fans really enjoyed themselves, especially in the left-hand side of the ground. Created a good atmosphere. It was also weird seeing that the managers and the staff sitting on benches on the running track, and then all the players are all nice and warm and sheltered underneath the dugouts a few meters back.
It's quite bizarre. The coaching stuff, also the touchline, where they were literally on benches, like sat about 3 or 4 feet from the touchline. Quite bizarre, as you say, and not seen that before. I must admit, when I first saw I actually didn't see the lineups of this. I just started watching the game, and I saw who was in goal for Hércules, and I was like, where is Carlos Abad? And later on, we found out where Carlos Abad had been. It's not a great story from his perspective, is it? It's a case of a little bit of a near miss in terms of his health, isn't it?
Yeah, on the day of the game, they found, was it appendicitis, wasn't it? Yeah, they found that just before the game, and luckily he didn't play, because that could have ended pretty badly for him if something happened. But his replacement, Blazic, I thought had a decent game. So I think there's 2 quality keepers at Hercules battling for that number 1 spot now.
Yeah, I must agree. I thought Blazic was decent, and I'm not sure I've seen him play all season. I'm not sure if that's his first game. And the lad's been brilliant, hasn't he? But yeah, they have got that reassurance now that the backup keeper is really decent. I thought the first half was all right, but not amazing. Second half, 2 penalties. Your thoughts on these 2 penalties, please, Mr. Morgan Charters?
Where do I begin?
do not be biased in your decision here, please. Honest opinions only. I have seen a lot of Hercules fans incredibly unhappy about the Europa penalty. I do think, to be fair, we saw an angle, didn't we, of it, which did look like there probably was some contact on Cano. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so it was a ball in from the left back, Escuela. He puts it in, and is it Company? He has his volley blocked inside the box, and it falls to Jordi Cano, and somehow his marker manages to catch him and trip him up. From most of the angles, it was very hard to tell, but from that angle we saw it was the right call in the end. And Jordi Cano being Jordi Cano, you can't doubt him. Puts it in the back of the net, doesn't he?
Stuck it away very coolly.
Yeah, and then the second penalty, it could have been definitely avoidable from Company, which led him to his second yellow card. I don't know what he's doing there. It was just a hopeful long ball from Hercules over the top. He could have easily dealt with it, and the sub Jerome De Leon, he sort of tried to get past him, and instead of Company putting his body in the way, he was being too lazy and decided to stick his arm out and catches him. Blatant penalty. And yeah, Fransol steps it up and it's low and hard. I don't know whether I'd be disappointed if I was Juan Flair in the goal, even though Fransol did it with power. Sort of seemed to go through his hands maybe. So
yeah, right. When you go the right way, you get that close to you have to hope you get something on. He did it well, didn't he, Fransol? And that's 3 penalties in 2 games for him. So yeah, he's decent from the spot clearly. But yeah, I agree with you. Kind of feel like he's gone the right way. Yeah, should he get something on it? Should he, how is he not really? Because he's over there. And yeah, as you said, it seems to almost squirm under him, doesn't he? I picked out Mehdi Puig the weekend before. I didn't see the game, to be honest, against Tarazona in its entirety, but I did see Mehdi Puig's goal. So it's my first look at him, having seen that spectacular goal he scored the weekend before last. I like the look of him in this game. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, fun enough, when I went and looked back to his goal the other week, and what a hit that was. And in this game, he was probably Hercules' only threat really in that game. I didn't think Hercules deserved a point out of it. I think Europa were very unlucky not to get all 3 points, but Mehdi Puig, he's one to look out. I believe he was originally signed for the B team back in November, and somehow he's just gone straight into the team and seems to be performing very well. He looks like a very good technical player. He's not afraid to run at people. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
Yeah, I totally agree. And let's be fair here. I mean, Hercules got a decent squad of players, and he's in that team. As you say, I don't think he was signed as a first team player initially. So fantastic stuff from him. Looks a real talent, and one of those ones that they picked, I think, from French second division or something. There's a few of those coming in, isn't there? It's a Primera RFEF. And so yeah, tremendous stuff. I really enjoyed his performance, you say. But I would agree overall. I think Hercules will be very happy with the point overall from that performance. What do we think about both sides' automatic promotion chances in a league, let's face it, unlike Grupo Uno, where there's no outstanding team? Can either of these win the league, or are they both looking playoffs at best?
I think playoffs for both of them. Europa's squad depth is less than desirable, and Hercules at the moment, they're not even performing like a playoff team at the moment. They just seem to not be effective in 3 areas of the pitch, in midfield, defence and attack. They just can't seem to sort of get it right in the past few games, I believe.
Yeah, they've they've had a few draws, haven't they? I mean, I think they've still only lost the one game, haven't they, since Better Company came in? But they're not impressing me at the moment, given the luxury that they have in that squad. They've got so many good players. I would really expect more from them than they're showing at the moment. So yeah, and Europa, I suppose, is as always, is can they get wins at Candragó in the new environment? Can they pick up their away form on that first away game the previous weekend? First away winning, I think, about 3 months. So that's key to it, isn't it, as well? I'd love to think that they could make the playoffs. It's a tremendous story, that would be. Although I suspect fans of Santander would not agree with me. The next game, I'm afraid, was the third 0-0 of our 6 games. I mean, we did pick some good games, didn't we, Tom? But unfortunately, some of them let us down. But I think this particular game, Atletico Madrid 0, Alcorcón 0. First half, I thought Alcorcón played pretty well. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, especially in the first 20, 25 minutes, they were very dangerous from set pieces. And I've got to say, Samu, the left back, he knows how to put a ball in. None of this trying to get it near post and not beating the first man. He just puts it right in the dangerous spot, right in the middle of the 6-yard box, and it caused Atletico Madrid a lot of problems, including ended up in one clearance off the line, I believe.
Yeah. They were good, weren't they? Alcorcón, I totally agree with that. And then of course the weather took over. I don't know really how you could describe it to someone who hasn't watched it, but the heavens opened, didn't they? In the second half was a little bit of a lottery, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. In the second half, it definitely showed when Ika Luque for Atletico ran through on goal, and fair play to him. He got there in the end, but he was struggling to take the ball forward because the ball just kept stopping and he was just going too fast. I wouldn't have liked to have played on that running through on goal, and I think I would have probably fallen over.
Yeah, there were seriously puddles on this, weren't they? What I find strange about this as well is that we are talking about 2 teams, Alcorcón and obviously Atletico Madrid, playing just northeast of the city in Alcalá de Henares. This is not a massive distance to travel to replay this game. I was really surprised the referee let it go on in the second half because it was a bit farcical, wasn't it? For me, we also had a rather farcical sending off, a second yellow for Jordi Pola, which for me, the Alcorcón defender, I thought it was a really, really disappointing decision. There's no need to brandish a second yellow there. And then another red card from the resultant free kick, which caused chaos, didn't it? Because we thought initially, when we saw it, we thought that, I think the commentators did as well, they had no idea what was going on. I kept saying to you, Tom, that Fernando Torres has got his card out here. Why has he got his card out here? And it turned out that Puric, without anyone actually seeing it, actually being sent off for Atletico Madrid. Fair decision when you saw it in the replay?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, there's the usual tussle and bustle on the edge of the box, pushing and pulling. But he took it to another extreme. Especially he was against a smaller player. He uses his shoulder and actually connects with him. And no doubt it was a red card. And
I think we didn't see. I think we thought, didn't we, first of all, that Alcorcón were appealing for a red card, and then it turned out that actually what happened is the referee quietly sent Puric off, and it was actually Torres who was appealing against the red card. And I totally agree with you. Absolutely not acceptable behaviour from Puric. And he carried on with it, didn't he, as he went towards the tunnel?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be just a one match ban. It's going to be quite a lengthy ban because he goes and knocks down the FES screen. Not like Iago Aspas last season in La Liga, but he pushes it over and knocks it over, and he's going to be out for a few games, I believe.
Yeah, I think there'll be a bit of a ban coming in there, won't they? Obviously, another draw for Alcorcón. I think that's 6 draws of 7 games. Still a lot of pressure, as there will be, as long as they carry on like this on Alvarez, then the Alcorcón coach. Is it the right call to keep him in the job?
I don't know, because I looked, they've got the most draws in the league. They've drawn 11 games this season. It's either it's going to go one way or the other. Like, you keep him, he might turn those draws into wins. Also, keep him, and those draws might turn into losses. So it's really a hard decision whether to keep him on or not. But it's actually good to see that they're still keeping faith of him at this moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing is, it's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously, you can't. It's only so long you can go on saying, well, as long as the performances are good, results will follow, which is usually the mantra, isn't it? And I don't think the performances have been bad from Alcorcon. I've seen him several times in recent weeks. I don't think they're playing that badly at all. I think they're unlucky to have had that many draws in the last 7 games. But you can't keep on saying, eventually results will come. Because as you say, after 11 draws, and the expectations are this team will make the playoffs at the very least. You probably eventually do need to change. But right now, I think he'd be hard done by. But then the results would say otherwise. Eldense 2, Sabadell 1, our 3rd game. We had 2 goals at last time.
Yes.
This was for me the undoubted game of the weekend before we kicked off. I thought, it would potentially be the best game of all. I have to say, I think we disagree on this first point, and it's hard, I know. But I just thought there were too many empty seats in this one. I think Eldense have come down from Segunda and obviously looking to go straight back up again. It's a small town. I don't deny that. It's about 50,000 people. But yeah, it only holds about 5,500, 6,000 people. And I felt it was, for a game of this magnitude, it should have been a better turnout. You thought it was reasonable, didn't you?
It wasn't too bad considering what Spain's going through with weather-wise and also the time and day of the kick-off. I think that was just over 3,000 or something that was there. Yeah, still missing another 2,000, which not great. It could have been worse. Yeah,
Sabadell obviously quite a long way away, so not going to be a huge number. Don't get huge attendances at home, I did in Sabadell. So, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I just felt like he deserved it. And it is a very open ground as well, isn't it? It didn't look to me like it was raining during this one, but maybe the threat of rain put people off. I mean, overall, Eldense first half, not too bad. I thought they were probably the better side before the break. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, they really nullified Sabadell's attacking threat. The experience of some of the players they got, like Fidel and Dione and Manu Molina, they were fantastic. And also they were very good at pressing Sabadell, really quick to snap the ball off them. I think Liamid struggled a little bit in this game. He's normally a really good player, but yeah, he just kept nicking the ball off him every time. And I believe it led to one of the goals, I believe.
Yeah, I think they did a bit of a number on them, didn't they? I mean, we know Sabadell love to build from the back and love to pass the ball. They're not very route one, are they at all, Sabadell? And I think you're absolutely right. I think that was clearly the attempt from the first whistle, wasn't it? From Eldense was to get in their faces and not give them time. Despite that, I think one of your favourite players still stood out, didn't he? As he does pretty much every week. Although he did miss a good chance, it has to be said.
Yeah, it was sort of Sabadell's sort of only chance. Well, it was first chance, really. Uri, one of your favourites as well. He just glides everywhere. He's involved in everything. Is this his first time in Primera Federation?
I think it is, yeah. I think he's been in Tercera RF not so long ago. I think this is a massive step up for him. I think Tercera RF 2 seasons ago, Segunda RF last season. I think with Sabadell and now, Primera RF, I just think he'll keep on going. I can't see him being Primera RF next season. He's, as you say, a very, very classy player. And although he probably should do it with this chance, overall, he's a massive plus for them, isn't he? Was result fair overall, do you think, 2-1? Was that about right? Did you feel that overall Eldense deserved the 3 points?
Yeah, it was not a Sabadell performance, really. Eldense sort of dominated. There was a bit of controversy at the end with Sabadell not getting a stonewall penalty. And then Eldense ruled out of the third goal, which I believe I've stopped the replays multiple times, and I believe he was onside.
Yeah, I agree. That is another one. It doesn't even look offside, really. I mean, it's not even close to me. He looks quite comfortably onside. I'm not sure, again, whether the camera angle is deceiving there. I don't know what that's all about. I agree with you also, it was a penalty. But I think overall, I can't really argue the result, although I was disappointed. I was hoping Sabadell would come away with a better result than that. In terms of, again, the 2 other teams we've just spoken, haven't we, about Europa and Hércules as possible champions. What about these 2? Could either of these 2 win it? Obviously, at the moment, we've got Sabadell top and Hércules, Eldense 3 points behind in third place. So either these looking a good bet to win it, do you think? Somebody's got to win it.
Yeah, I think these 2 have got a better chance than the other teams, really. Sabadell gone a little bit off the last couple of games, but I'm sure they'll be able to pick it back up with the players that they've got. And like I said, with Eldense, with the experience that they've got in those players that I've mentioned, they're sort of really Segunda Division players in Fidel Dione and Manu Molina. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite tight for whoever takes that top spot, and I think it's going to be at least between those two.
Yeah, I think Eldense look strong, don't they? And they're not my favourite team to watch, but they are very effective. And as you say, that experience could prove key in this run-in. A few other headlines from the week. Tenerife couldn't make it 8 wins in a row. The goalless draw at Bilbao Athletic is the first time they'd failed to score since early November. Who did they play in early November when they failed to score, Tom, and they lost 1-0?
Oh, I don't know. Was it Bilbao Athletic?
It certainly was amazing, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, incredible how you could do that, couldn't you? They've been so dominant, and yet they've not scored against the filial from Athletic Club in either game. But they're still 12 points clear, aren't they? So I'm sure they won't be gutted about that. Arenteiro got their first win of 2026. A bit of fans of Arenteiro, aren't we? Love that small, humble setup there, and then there's a pitch that looks like it could do with a serious revamp in the summer. I think that's definitely the Ponte. I see Pontevedra and I raise your Arenteiro, definitely same part of the country. My word, splashing around in the puddles they were. Amazing game. 9 goals, 6-3. They won against Real Aviles Industrial. I think that's the most goals that have ever been scored in a Primera RFEF game. I think it's been 2 other games that there's been 9 goals. So I know Primera RFEF is not very old, but that's still a little bit of history in itself. But the conditions were a bit faster, weren't they?
Yeah, it definitely affected the game, especially for the first goal with the keeper diving low. And I think if it was a dry pitch, he would have saved the first goal. There were some really good goals in this game. From the veteran Ferrero for his goal, and I
think it was Raul Rubio, wasn't it? Was it Raul Rubio got one later on? I mean, it's a consolation at best for Aviles Industrial, but yeah, that was a tidy volley. And so yeah, you're right. I mean, they're really decent game overall, but yeah, a little bit, one of those games again that I don't think would have been played in England at any level really, other than in park football.
And Mingo's back scoring as well.
Sorry,
Mingo's back scoring as well.
Yeah, hat-trick, yeah. I mean, he is one of those, isn't he? He's got a hat-trick just after the deadline. I mean, I don't know what happened there. And I don't think his release scores would have been that high. It's interesting to know who's got in for him. But yeah, you'd think he would certainly get a decent move this summer if he carries on like that. Tarazona finally lost at home. First game lost at home. Somewhat unexpected. 2-0 against Atlético Sanluqueño, given all the problems they've had recently. One of those games, I think, that Tarazona will probably win that game 7 times out of 10. And the chance they create, they missed a penalty. They were going to lose eventually, weren't they, I suppose, Tom? And what's going on off the field is probably a distraction at the moment, isn't it, I would think? Yeah, I think probably overall Tarazona, yeah, they'll chalk them as a disappointment, but they're overall 5 wins, 5 draws at home. I think they'll accept the odd hiccup like this. It
could have been a lot worse from the highlights I saw, because I believe they should have been down to 10 men within 18 minutes with Traore going in. He maybe have slipped, but his leg was still raised and caught the player, and FES and the ref decided it was only a yellow card, which on another day could have been a red.
Might have been a red, yeah, you're right, yeah. And I don't think any Tarazona player should ever get a red, obviously, Tom, but, I do tell your point.
And there was also a good finish from the Cadiz player, Ismael Alvarez, who I'm sure that could do with him at Cadiz.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, there are 1 or 2 in there, I suppose. I mean, listen, they as we said last week, they've been chucked in from mostly been playing Tercera RF. They're suddenly playing Primera RF. They need to adjust quickly. Overall, a really morale boosting win for them. Not one that I enjoyed, of course, but realistically, if they can survive without really getting hammered every week, and clearly this wasn't a hammering, quite the opposite, then maybe they will learn from the experience. And even if they can't keep Atlético Sanluqueño up, they'll develop as players. And certainly the finish for the first goal was a beauty, wasn't it? Last game I'm going to mention is another Galician derby. Of course, we get quite a few in this league. Racing Ferrol 1, Lugo 1. We mentioned Balboa earlier on as being one of our favourite players in the league. He certainly impressed us again with his finish in this one, didn't he?
Yeah, if Lugo don't go up, he's not staying in Primera RF, because that finish from about 35 yards out into the top corner. Oh, golazo.
Yeah, he's a player. I mean, I think he's one of those. He was in Holland last year, and I think he's one of those that kind of out of sight, out of mind a bit. He left his club in Holland and eventually had to take a Primera RFEF job. I think he should be in Secondary, and I think he will be, as you say, next year, either with Lugo or with somebody else. In terms of where that leaves everybody, not a lot of changes really, although that doesn't really tell the whole story, does it? I think Grupo 1, top 5, just the one change, Merida in, Zamora out. We already mentioned that. Bottom 5 is the same. Grupo 2, top 5. I think the only change is Real B in, Arenteiro out, but of course Arenteiro didn't play, so that's not particularly significant, because if they had, and when they play the game in hand, they might leapfrog over Real B again, hopefully. Bottom 5, same as well. But the big story, isn't it, really, I suppose, and it continues to be a big story, is that in that Grupo 2, we have 6 points between Real B in 5th place, and I think it's who's just outside. It's either Ibiza or can't remember who's. It might even be out. It's either Ibiza or Alcorcon or somebody like that, just outside the relegation zone at 6 points behind. And in fact, in 16th place, I think it's Juventud de Torremolinos, isn't it? So you can be in the first relegation place and then win 2 games. Obviously, everyone else have to lose, but 6 points between 5th and 16 is ludicrous, isn't it? Really? Yeah,
it just shows how tight this league is. Couple wins will shoot you right up there. Couple of defeats will drop you down there. You've just got to stay on it, and if you want to be successful in the league, you've got to find consistency.
Yeah,
it's a very tight league.
So this week, Tom, games of the week this week. I'm going to go first. Tenerife against Racing Ferrol, Saturday at 6:30. Yeah, I mean, it should be a decent game. I think Racing Ferrol will probably go there for a draw, as most teams will at the moment when they go to Eliodoro, but hopefully they'll have a go as well at some point. Zamora Baracaldo is on Sunday at midday. I think that'll be decent as well. Baracaldo are not great on the road, but I really picked up recently despite losing San Bartolome. And Talavera Arenteiro on Sunday at 4 p.m. aside. Not in a good place right now, Talavera, against the side Arenteiro, who haven't been in a good place for a while, but obviously will hopefully be boosted by that 6 goals they scored last weekend. So again, very much down in the relegation dogfight area to end my top 3 of the weekend. How about your 3, Tom?
Yeah, so I've gone for Algeciras versus Juventud Torremolinos at Saturday 5:30 kickoff. 2 teams that had their games called off. Both were on good form, so hopefully they're well rested, and hopefully be a few goals in that one. The second game is Hercules versus Antequera. Ready to watch Mehdi Puig at Hercules. Hopefully they improve, but also Antequera look a decent side since they're the appointment of their manager. And then third game and final, Alcorcon versus Real Murcia on Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Surely Alcorcon can't draw another game. 11 draws, like I said. Real Murcia have been in poor form. 2 teams desperate for a win. So and both teams with really good squads. So hopefully we'll get a good game there.
Yeah, some decent ones in there. Totally agree. 3 really good games. Arenteiro, Juventud Torremolinos. It's not quite a derby. They're fairly local, those 2, aren't they? Not very far away from each other. So that should be a decent game. Hopefully Torremolinos take a few across there. Yeah, 3 really interesting games in both grupos. Thank you so much, Tom, for this evening. Really hugely appreciated, and great to have your knowledge on the show. And yeah, we will obviously both be watching plenty of Primera RFEF as well as Segunda this coming weekend, and look forward to sharing and exchanging views on what we see. Until that time comes around, we will bid you goodbye. We will be back, of course, as always, at the start of next week. But until then, hasta luego.